This week on the podcast, we're going to do something we haven't done before. It's a little bit of a confessional. We talk often about how our money is a journey and like we never arrive. There's always things to work on. There's always things that we're continuing to do. So today, I'm pulling back the curtain and sharing with you a couple things that I am working on. All right, let's do this. Welcome back to the Your Money, Your Life podcast. I'm calling this a money confessional. And often we talk, or I tell you, and I talk about the fact that like money is something that we have to continually work on. It's an ongoing process. It's growing, like our relationship with money is always something that we're continuing to do. And because our money mindset and our relationship with money is always continuing to be worked on, the tactical habits that we have to do around money also are affected as well. So today we're pulling back the curtain and I'm sharing with you a couple of the things that I've been working on or had to remind myself on when it comes to money for myself. So I'm calling it a money confessional. I guess I'm confessing to you real truth, pulling back the curtain, unfiltered, you could call it. Of course, there is a little bit of a filter on it just because your kids might be listening, and I appreciate that. So, by the time we're releasing this, or what? First week in June? Yeah, first week of June. So, in April, we released Cash Flow Unlocked. And that's really where I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk about it for a minute. So, since Natalie, my fourth, was born in September, there was a lot of prep work that was done. There was a little bit of birth trauma, like for myself when she was born. So there was extra healing involved and some of those things. And the transition coming back to my business after I did take a bit of a maternity leave after she was born, and that was amazing. But it was a little bit rougher of a transition back than I had anticipated. So we already had that pressure going on, and I knew it had been on my heart and had been working on it like behind the scenes that Cash Flow Unlock needed to happen for about 2 years. And I felt like this is the place that I needed to be. This is the thing that I needed to work on. So I committed, like, I'm going to get this launch done. And honestly, there was a little bit of like, I don't know what all I'm going to do, what this is going to look like afterwards. Like, obviously, the podcast is still ongoing and some of those things, but like a big workshop like that, like how much I was going to do, because I wanted to make sure that I was being intentional with my time, with my children while they're still this young. I mean, you heard, we homeschool as well. We do all these things, but I was committing to do that launch. And during that time, there was a lot that had to go in there. There was some back end stuff with VAs, which is a virtual assistant. My team members, it just wasn't working out. I had had a great VA. She really had to be let go. She was going back to law school and she needed the time to focus before Natalie was born. And then after Natalie was born, we had tried a couple VAs and they just really weren't working out. So I had more tasks on my plate, which I hadn't really even outsourced everything that I should. We can talk about like the reasoning behind that. That probably could be another money confessional, but that's not the focus that I'm focusing on today. But during that time, there was a lot that had to be done. There was a lot on my plate, and I have always been the higher achiever and doing all the things. I also know since 2020, I have worked on taking a day off consistently and prioritizing making that time for me consistently. And that has made a big difference because taking rest and giving yourself time to rest is a money making activity. Because if we continue to work ourselves into stress and overwhelm, burnout, that fatigue, if we're doing all those things, like we're not serving ourselves. And I have known that taking that time away and taking that time for rest has been so important. But I got caught up and the having to get everything done on that specific timeline, all the responsibilities were falling on me. And I didn't take the day off like I really should have. There were moments where I listened to myself, and I'm going to celebrate that. Like, I'm celebrating the fact that like there were moments where I'm like, I am just done, and I would walk away. I'm also celebrating the fact that, hey, we accomplished the launch. We got things done. There probably wasn't as many aspects there as I would have liked to. There could have been more things that I accomplished, but you know what? We accomplished the launch. And I am freaking proud of that. And I hope that you can find things. This is really the point here for the money confessional, that you can find things to celebrate. When we talk about the things that aren't going the way that we wanted to, but still celebrating when things do go the way that we want them to. Okay. So not only did I put in all of that work, honestly, like even though numbers were great, the final results weren't where I wanted them to be, which kind of sucked, honestly. It was a lot of time and effort. There was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of work put in. There was a lot of long hours doing all these things to not feel like I had the results that we had wanted. But we talked about like the wins here. There's so many things that I learned along the way that we talk about, like even that quote results that we got, like they're still positive results. It still gives us data to look at. It still helps us to be able to look at things and know where things went right and where things might have been off. But you know what? At the end of the day, the thing that I really needed to honor during that time was still taking the day off for myself, because there was a much longer decompression time afterwards, because I had let myself get into that. It's just for a season. It's fine right now. I can't take a break. There's no way it's possible. That lack of belief showed up again, which if you've heard me talk before, we've talked about forest school and how like joining forest school felt like how could this isn't even possible because we have this here and we have this here. And it all started with me asking, like, how can it be possible? And really, that's what I should ask myself. Like, how would it be possible to take a break, to take the day off, to rest, to unplug from social media? If you look, I really don't spend a lot of time with social media over the weekend because my goal is to be there and be present with my family and spend time at least one day, which is typically Saturday. Sunday, I'm sometimes working like behind the scenes, but I'm still not necessarily active on social media. All right. I think that's it. My confessional was not doing well. Forgetting. I forgot. There we go. I forgot to prioritize the rest and the break. And that making money is, I'm sorry, resting. That resting is a money-making activity. It's important. It's important to give yourself that space. It's important to slow down. And there is joy in that. There's abundance in that when we slow down and we stop forcing things. This is also why we talk about the Unstoppable Finances framework, because you already are unstoppable. It's just about you seeing it. All right. Let me know. Did you like the money confessional? We've done a couple of different episodes lately. Yeah, I need to hear from you. Is this something that you've enjoyed? Should I continue to add these in sporadically, things that we're working on? Or is this like, no, thank you, Aimee. Please don't do that type of episode again. Like, seriously, let me know. Send me a message on Instagram at Aimee Cerka or shoot me a text, 817-969-4653. And if you're feeling bold, let me know. What do you need to confess? Have you struggled with taking a break as well? Because it's important. All right, that's it. I'll quit rambling. We'll see you next week. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to the Your Money, Your Life podcast. Wondering what's next? When you're ready, there are different levels of support that you can use on the path to creating unstoppable finances and your unstoppable life. After all, your finances are unique and your support should be too. Ultimately, we'll create a customized plan to ditch financial struggle for good that works for you, your goals, your priorities, your life. Go to workwithaimee.com to get started with one of our most popular programs, or you can book a Q&A call with me and we'll figure out what your next step should be.